Good morning. Welcome to Up to the Minute. I'm Todd Duplantis, and we're live from the HCCTV studios this morning, the podcast studio. And guess what? It's the last day before spring break. That's pretty special, right? It only happens once a year, and we're just upon it, folks. Stay with us, though. Another full day of work for most people, but we are glad to have you here with us this morning. My co-host, Dr. Natalie Garza, is joining us right now, HCC history professor. Natalie, are you ready for spring break?
I am. I'm ready, and I think my students are ready too.
I think everybody's ready for spring break, whether you like it or not. It's here, folks. We want to thank everyone for watching us on Facebook Live and YouTube. We're here just about every day when HCC is in session. We're live at 10 a.m. on Facebook and YouTube. And Natalie, they can also catch us on social media and on HCCTV as well.
Yes, we're live in the Houston Community College District Facebook page, and make sure you look for that and not HCC Facebook page. And YouTube, we're available at HCCTV at noon, 5 and 10 p.m. Monday through Friday.
Okay, Natalie, stick around because I believe you know this next guest. March is Women's History Month, and Natalie will be talking with Dr. Joanna Fax about her Humanities course. Joanna, welcome to the show. I think your mic is muted.
There we go. Thank you. Good to be here.
Yeah, we're looking forward to hearing from you. So stick around. Natalie's going to be with you in about 10 minutes. Okay, we're going to kick things off. Very excited about this next guest and their mission because personally, I was a big fan of the River Oaks Theater. I was very heartbroken when it shut down, but it's being revived. And we've got Maureen McNamara. She is the co-founder and director of the Friends of River Oaks Theater. Welcome back to the show, Maureen. Good to see you. Let's see if we can get you to unmute your mic.
I'm back.
You're back. Good to see you. So it's, my late wife and I were very big fans of the River Oaks Theater. We used to go there at least once a week, if not more. It was just a wonderful place. And, I'd heard it was shutting down, and then, of course, it did. But now it's being revived. You guys are keeping it going. Why don't you give us an update as to what's going on? I want to talk about the mission of the Friends of River Oaks, but what's going on with the theater? Have they started rebuilding this yet? Or I know they're going to redo or renovate the whole thing.
Right. So, well, the short version of the story is that the new landlords still have possession of the theater. The theater hasn't really been touched in many, many years. So there are all kinds of issues that are kind of core code issues that have changed in 84 years. So they're working on their work, and then so it's really still going to be a little while because once they're finished with their work, then they'll turn the theater over for renovation. So,
and I'd heard, and I'm not sure if this is still the story, but this was going to be more like a dinner and a movie type of place where, like a draft house cinema. Is that still the plans from what you're understanding?
It still is basically the plan. Yeah, it'll be a cinema grill.
Yep.
But I haven't seen the menu yet, so that'll be a surprise.
Imagine that's way down the road at this point. They haven't
Right.
even got possession of the theater. Well, so let's talk about Friends of River Oaks. For people who may just be not heard of you guys, tell us about your mission and what you're all about.
Well, Friends of River Oaks formed when the theater was at risk. It was really a group of community members, some of them being people who cared about Houston history, some of them people who were cinephiles or had been in the theater exhibition business, but in Houston. I myself was involved in overseeing the River Oaks Theater for many, many years. Not in the last few years, but previously I was with the theater for 23 years, so with Landmarks. So the that grassroots group that came together first, it was about saving the theater, helping to keep really ignite the community and the mayor's office and get them to look at how to influence the landlords not to redevelop the space. So anyway, then over time, then we looked at seeing if we could figure out how to pull together a group of people to purchase the building from the landlords, then to lease the building. And now we're working with the new lessors to put the art back in the art house. So that's, and in the meantime, we're doing outreach to try and keep the theater in the hearts and minds of the community. It's been a long time, and it's, we're trying to figure out if we can get some historical preservation protections for the theater, or help with that.
Right. Well, I mean, it is an incredible space. It really is. Beautiful theater. And it had such a neighborhood feel to it. I know when I used to go to it, it seemed like you had like people who lived in the area that would just go there and hang out at the bar upstairs, and have a drink or something, like catch up. And it had that type of feel to it. It's such a special place. You guys have some cool programming going on now. I follow you on Facebook, and y'all, it looks like you have outdoor movies. Tell us about some of the events you have upcoming.
So we're doing what we're calling our mobile movie palace pop-up screening. So we've got a couple of things that we've done. We did a Nosferatu with a live score screening and a vampire costume contest. We did a partnership with the Houston Film Festival and played Cinema Paradiso. So, and we just finished a rooftop screening on the parking deck across the street from the theater. So you're overlooking the theater, and it's basically our own rooftop cinema. And then we're also upcoming. The next thing we're doing is with White Oak Music Hall's Raven Tower. We're doing screening of Repo Man, which we had sent out a suggestion call for people to write in what they would like to see us do. And it was the top rated film so we're going to do that film. We have a band playing we're going to play it twice, have a live band playing in between, and we're doing a crawfish / for those of you who know the film, plate of shrimp boil at the. That
is a crazy movie. And I think I saw that movie for the first time when it was released at River Oaks Theater. I want to say like a midnight screening when they weren't showing Rocky Horror. It was that's just a crazy movie if you haven't seen it, folks. You guys also launched a podcast as well.
Well, we're about to, actually. That's we're super excited about it. We're editing right now, and it is launching next week. So it should drop on Thursday, and it'll drop on the middle of the month. Each month, there'll be a little bit of local programming, a major guest, and our first inaugural major guest is an interview with Richard Linkletter, who was is an amazing filmmaker, and Apollo 10½, if you haven't seen it, is one of the best Houston films ever, and Boyhood, of course, is one of the best films ever. But anyway, he's talking about how he grew up at the River Oaks Theater, and in his his film education was at the River Oaks Theater. And so he says, I didn't go to film school. I went to the River Oaks.
Well, it is an incredible place, and it's so good to hear. I commend you guys on the work you've done just to keep it in people's minds, because when it closed down, it was heartbreaking for a lot of us who supported the theater and enjoyed going there. You know, I remember the last movie I went to go see there was an Anthony Hopkins movie. I think it was The Father.
Oh, The Father, yeah.
That was the last one I saw there before they closed down.
Actually.
Yeah, depressing as hell movie, but you know, it was that's just the way it was. But still, a great movie and incredible space. We wish you all the best of luck. Keep us up to date and let us know as this moves forward. And we're all just waiting for when this thing reopens again.
Thank you. We are too.
Maureen McNamara, she's the co-founder and director of the Friends of River Oaks Theater. We'll have all the information, your social media, where people can follow you in our post after the show. Thanks, Maureen. All right, we're going to turn things over now to Natalie. You've got a special guest as well.
Yes, moving on to Dr. Joanna Fax, an instructor in our Department of English. Welcome back to the show, Dr. Fax. As we mentioned earlier, March is Women's History Month, but you teach a class that features women all through the semester. Can you tell us what that class is?
Yeah, and thank you so much for having me. And thanks to Maureen also for all of the great work that they're doing. I'm familiar with that theater, and it's a very important feature of the community. So this class is called Introduction to Women's Studies, which is a pretty broad title. But within that, it's a class that I've really designed to give students a sense of really the history behind a lot of the sort of political debates that we witness today. Really, unfortunately, only mostly now in sort of sound bites on social media. So I designed this class with the idea in mind: what would it look like to give students a clearer picture of sort of genealogy or a history behind where some of these debates that we're more familiar with today, such as debates over childcare, debates over racism and race. So this is a class that I wanted to start sort of early on with the suffragists and kind of move forward in time through the 1950s, the 1960s, the 70s, the 80s, and finally up until now.
And is this a class through the English department, or is it through Humanities?
Yeah, that's an important part, is that this is a humanities class. And so what we're doing is we're looking at a lot of different kinds of materials. We are looking at some sort of traditional texts and articles, but we are also looking at documentary film. One of the things that we do at the end of the semester is watch the documentary Paris is Burning, which many students are familiar with the show Pose that's currently being made about the drag competitions in New York City. But Paris is Burning was sort of the original documentary where that subculture was first kind of broadcast for a public audience beyond just where the drag shows were located in Harlem.
And what kind of assignments do the students do?
Yeah, so the students do three kind of major assignments. What they're doing is really trying to work around work their way into what these critics are saying in their moment, but then also figure out how to have a point about them to sort of talk about their own ideas about the material. So our first essay is called a concept essay, and that's where students choose a concept that we talk about early in the semester, such as oppression might be one, or liberation or freedom. These are kind of broad ideas that the writers we deal with are kind of talking about in a lot of different ways. And so the first assignment is asking students to really choose one of these concepts and define it through the point of view of one of the theorists that we're reading. So a lot of students like to choose the word oppression because I start the semester off with two different points of view about what constitutes oppression in society, and students like to kind of dig in there. Another assignment is a cultural criticism assignment where students choose a current event or a sort of cultural phenomenon, something maybe that happened on Twitter, or something that is being discussed kind of in popular culture, maybe like Rihanna's performance at the Super Bowl might be one example. And they dissect it from the point of view of one of the writers that we read, to try to talk about what the cultural significance is of this event today and how they're understanding it, not only from the perspective of a fan, but also from the perspective of a cultural critic.
And are there any assignments that the students find particularly difficult or anything like that?
I think the concept essay is pretty challenging for students. I think really just in general, it's challenging for anyone to try to sort of isolate one concept and define it through the perspective of somebody else's ideas about that concept. And so I think they wrestle with a little bit of the close reading that is involved, a skill that I think we learn in the context of a literature class. But of course, one thing I want them to take away from this class is that close reading skills, close analysis can happen in any context. And so that's really what this essay is asking them to practice.
I teach HUMA also, as you know, and one of my favorite things about teaching HUMA is that you get to be kind of creative and interdisciplinary. You come from English, I come from history, and it gives us an opportunity to bring in other things. Do you have like a favorite text or anything like that you teach in class?
Yeah, I have a couple. One that sticks out is the graphic novel Fun Home by Alison Bechdel, which is a coming of age story of a young person coming out and also learning about her own father's sexuality in the process. And it's fun because it's as a graphic novel, it offers a lot of different ways of interpretation. And we can treat it like literature. We can treat it almost like we would treat a film, with using visual analysis to talk about what's happening in each frame. I also really like teaching Audre Lorde's cancer journals. She has an amazing chapter on the mastectomy that she had to have when she was diagnosed with breast cancer, and the complicated forms of power that come about in the context of a medical room when you are being expected by your doctor to perhaps use like prosthesis after a mastectomy. And she talks about the power relations and the gendered power relations in the medical context. So that's another one that students really respond to. I have a lot of students in that class who are going into nursing. I also have other students who've had experiences with different forms of cancer, either themselves or in the family. And so it's an essay that really speaks to a wide range of students in there.
And kind of picking up from that, what
different things that are that students are sort of taken aback by. One is Betty Friedan's The Problem That Has No Name, about the drudgery of housework, and that's one that students can really relate to across the board, regardless of gender, and just the ways in which these issues continue to kind of plague generation after generation. And they're asking questions 50 years ago that we're still asking today. I also think they're surprised sometimes at how surprisingly liberal things might have seemed at different points in history. I think, our narrative of progress tends to be like a linear chronological narrative, but we read about, other times in history when actually social regulations were a little bit more flexible than they might be right now. So those are two things that surprise students.
And you talked about, one of the biggest takeaways you want is for them to learn about reading text. Is there anything else that you hope that the students walk away with at the end of the semester?
Just the fact that the things that we talk about today have a long history, and we can still learn a lot about the problems that we face today by looking at problems and solutions that were posed before we got here.
Yeah, thank you. It sounds really exciting, and the fact that you draw connections to pop culture and to their experiences today with what they're learning on social media and everything like that.
Thank you so much. Yeah, and oftentimes students will bring in, things that they encounter in their social media lives, and that becomes wonderful fodder for discussion. And so I really get a lot from the students in the room as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Joanna Fax, HCC English Instructor. We'll have your info in the post after the show.
Thank you so much.
All right, thank you both. Okay, Natalie, we got a few announcements we're going to get through before we end this show, the last show before spring break. Must add that once again. All right, end plastic pollution. Earth Day posters are due Friday. HCC's Vast Academy is sponsoring an Earth Day poster competition with a theme to end plastic pollution. We've had guests on the show earlier this week that talked about this. Students can win discounts at HCC bookstores. Posters will be judged on originality and creative expression. The deadline for artwork is today, folks, so make sure you have it turned in by the end of the day, Friday, March the 10th. Check out our post after the show for the emails for submissions and details. And Natalie, there is a new project that our creative writing program is working with, Vocable, it's out there as well.
Yes, Vocable. It's a journal of arts and writing. And as you said, HCC's Creative Writing Club is looking for contributions of fiction, creative nonfiction, poetry, artwork, scripts, and even comics. This is, again, for Vocable, a journal of arts and writing. Submissions are open until March 23rd, so you have some time to bring those in. And to learn more, we'll have the link in our post after the show.
New Visions of the American South. This is an exhibition ongoing at our Northwest College. Across the district, we have galleries, art galleries, literally just about on every campus. Check this one out. Faculty artist Natalie Stovall is currently holding a solo exhibition of her work inspired by her reflections and experiences during a road trip from the American Southwest to the Southern East Coast. It's through April the 6th at HCC's Northwest College Spring Branch Gallery. Of course, it's free. Don't have to register. Just check it out next time. And there's also a healthy relationship scholarship, Natalie, that our students can earn.
Yes, I've been pushing this in my classes. It's a healthy relationship scholarship. You earn $500. This is through HCC's counseling services. Faculty and OIE are offering 2 healthy relationship scholarships. Qualifying HCC students can share their love for art or prose by writing a 500-word essay or by creating any piece of artwork on the topic of healthy relationships. And the deadline to turn this in is Sunday, April 9th. And again, you can check our post after the show for the email submissions.
Okay, folks, you know the routine. Registration is open for the summer 2023. Registration's open. You can also fit some classes in shorter sessions, but you can still get some credit hours in before the end of the spring semester. We have 5 ways to learn: online anytime, online on a schedule, hybrid, in-person, and hybrid lab. So check that out. One website to go register. Register for the spring, for the end of the spring. Get a short class in. If you need to get some credit hours, you can still do that. But most importantly, make sure you get your summer classes locked in now. Go to hccs.edu/apply. So, do you have any plans for spring break, Natalie?
I do. I'm going, I don't know the name of the town, but somewhere northwest of San Antonio with my parents to hang out. They want to see the grandkids.
Very cool. Well, good. Enjoy your time off. I'm going to be headed down south of Mexico for a little while.
Oh, that's fun. You too. Enjoy your time.
Well, thank you. And all of you have a safe spring break. Enjoy your time off. Students, faculty, staff, you deserve it. Enjoy your time off. We will be back with Up to the Minute, not next week because we're all off, but the week after. Have a great spring break. We'll see you then.